Fala, Galera, here to say what's up, guys, to your reigning world champions. But what will your reigning world champions in Team 7 say back to them? Ryan versus Judeu in Duel A. You have Jesse Cotton taking on Paolo PRRJ and Ray taking on G-Nets.
And we do see immediately that Jesse Cotton is the designated memento player there in Duel A for Team 7. I think that's somewhat of a surprise because we see Ryan, you actually being on this deck for the last couple of weeks. And wow, Ryan on Duel A.
No way!
Okay.
Ryan is going crazy here. Valor combination on the Neptabis. Still sending a Dragoons for cost. Dragoons activates Ash Blossom as the immediate answer there. And Judea just has to pass here. This is not what you want to do with Mermaid.
Yep. Nope, this is not a great start for the Mermail Atlantean deck, and indeed now Ryan has options available, but this is the Ryziel strategy that we're seeing here. Now immediately summoning that first one, which will search another Ryziel card from the deck, the Sword Ryziel available. We're going to send another from the extra deck to the graveyard, and here is another search off of that. Ryziel, Ryziel, Ryziel.
And we do search for Node Ryziel here with the extra Ryziel. You could really tell Ryan looked relieved when his effect of Sword Ryziel resolved. It felt like it may have been his only starter, but when that first starter goes through, you are basically off to the races. Now the dual drive is going to get infinite cards because it searches 2, and also there is still already the Node Ryziel in the hand. It's really tough to stop the deck from now on here.
Oftentimes I'm seeing the aggregator just used here to help prevent any kind of disruption on that effect resolving, but right now looks like Ryan is happily just resolving all of these effects. 5 cards in hand, great card on field. Let's go.
Also, he has started with Sword, as you said, Basti. That is not the greatest start. So basically, every time your opponent normal summons Sword, there is a very high chance that they don't have a better starter in hand, or even another starter, because let's face it, all of the other Ryziels except for Node are better starters.
We're talking about starters, 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 and it looks like Ray's hand was full of them because there's no disruption on G-Nets as he sets up with the Malice here. It's just going, 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 and this game looks almost gone if there's no disruption here.
I would absolutely agree, and I mean, we see that G-Nets is the designated Malice player of the team. We see that Jesse is apparently, is Jesse the Malice player for, no, he's the Memento player, so it must be the Malice mirror match actually happening there at table C between both G-Nats and Ray.
Jesse Cotton got Fuwa lost in the process of his combo. Is now summoning the combined creation king, the Tekutlika, sending 3 cards to the graveyard. We could just see that Paolo resolved the Fuwa loss, drawing a card there. And now I think that Jesse might actually just want to go for a smaller field here and not give too many draws, or you completely commit to it and go for the biggest field you can make. You at this point know that your opponent is not on the Malice strategy, so you basically have a better idea on what you have to handle. It might be Ryziel.
I believe it will be Ryziel just because Atlantean for Judeo and the Malice for G-Nets does suggest that that last remaining top-tier strategy in this meta could very well be in the hands of Paolo PRRJ. We will find out now as he's about to draw a card and start his turn facing down that established Memento field. But the Memento field just adding to that back line of Spell and Trap cards so far. It passes over, and here we go.
And I mean, to be fair, Paolo has a rich history of playing the Ryziel strategy in the TCG. Therefore, absolutely no surprise to me that he would be the one bringing that deck here to the tournament. He is still, though, Ryan looking not too bad, already having the dual drive resolved, having the established Ryziel cross on the field here now, Duel A, and now going for the Light Dragon and Ignister, and that could be a tell that we're trying to go for a full 8,000 points of damage here in this turn right away.
Yep, at 5,000 right now with an empty field waiting, but there is the Fool Us. You can pressure, you can push through it, especially if Ryan is looking to end the game in this turn. It doesn't matter if Judeo draws more because he won't get a chance to use those cards if Ryan has anything to say about it.
And there is the Ryziel plugin, and that one special summons from the graveyard first of all, meaning it does not give any draws into the Mulcharmy Fuvalos. And everyone, we have to count
1,200 short. We are 1,200 short.
That's also good math for sure, but it's interesting to see that multiple players have already activated Mulcharmy Fuvalos here on the side of Fala Galera, because of course they might be sharing Fuvalos, which would definitely be a surprise. Oh, there's a call by the Grave in Duel C as well. It's finally the turn of Ray, and Ray is playing Metaltronus in his Malice deck, that's also an interesting. It's so cool to see because of the shared cards, all the decks are so unique, all the decks are so different, and people really have to find different solutions.
Ooh.
But there is another monster here for Ryan in our main feature, and this certainly is over 8,000.
It's actually quite funny because you saw the cross-out designator get sent there, so Ryan had insurance if he needed it, but didn't need it in the end. Can just push for this. Ryzeal detonator hitting the field here, but Nibiru, the primal being, hits on top.
Yep, we can't just let it activate, say, hey, I won't negate this, trust me here, buddy. But on resolve, you go Ryzeal cross, negate this, goes into the battle phase, and attacks you with 2-7, 2-5, and 3-2 with the detonator to finish it off. Ryan wins his first game in Duel A. Now let's see. Look at this, Duel C, Ray versus Gabriel Nets, caught by the Grave on Max C. This is a huge game here.
It definitely is. And did I see there? Oh yeah, let's. Oh, we have Duel B here, and Paolo is playing the
Fiendsmith. So actually, Paolo, we thought would look towards that Fiendsmith Snake Eye strategy because, Fiendsmith Ryzeal is something that he's played in the TCG as well. Big fan of the Snake Eye deck as well, so definitely a lot of these cards that work well with that Fiendsmith strategy, but right now has to deal with the Creation King, chaining the effect there from Jesse. This duel is still very much anyone's to take.
Yeah, it's not many cards left in hand here for Paolo. It's only the 2. We still get to activate the effect of Memento Miglan, targeting our big fusion monster, meaning we can basically bring back any Memento monster from the graveyard. There is Maxi on her own
that'll
turn
be 2 draws.
Wow.
That'll be 2 draws from the Akihiron and this special summon back from the grave. That's good. That's as good a response as any, and that solves the problem, hopefully, that you raised of Paolo not having too many options left in the hand.
That is incredible. Maxi definitely is a card. If this is a Ryzeal strategy, I mean, I don't completely know what he played before that, but if he draws into a Ice Ryzeal, for example, this could very well be super crazy. Maybe he even started with Ice Ryzeal and went for a Excite Knight route and then into the Requiem, which I don't believe because Jesse still has 3 cards set. But now we're summoning the Gatic back after targeting the combined Creation King with a Memento Miglan. And Akihiron, interestingly enough, activates the effect to attack directly with big Memento monsters on the opposing turn, which can be dangerous because if there is a big monster being taken with triple tactic talents, it can attack directly still.
Yep, we wonder if Paolo was able to grab another starter here, and it is! It's the Fiendsmith Ryzeal for him, and it is the Ryzeal card that he drew into. Sword Ryzeal now going to start things off. We saw it dictate the pace of the game in Duel A. Can it do it again here as it adds X Ryzeal to the hand?
But was that a normal summon or was that a special summon? Oh, we're going to activate the Fiendsmith Engraver here from the graveyard before we are locking ourselves into the rank 4 monsters or level 4 monsters with the Engraver, even though that might mean that we do not get to search with Axed.
That's true, but we can also already just go ahead and maybe go for the powerful Link 2. We could also go for Synchro 10, which would be the Chaos Angel here, possibly.
No.
What is it going to be? No, it is just going to be the Fiendsmith sequence. And of course, the Sword Riser is not even a light or a dark, and therefore it would always be the Link 2. Here it is, the Fiendsmith sequence. And this one sorta forces out an answer here from Jesse Cotton, I'm pretty sure, because you do not want this card to resolve, really. But we see the toggle turned yellow, meaning we are resolving the effect here of Fiendsmith sequence, and that is tough to see.
I'm very intrigued by this, but I'm also intrigued by the fact that we have Duel C actually still ongoing despite the great start for Gabriel Nets.
Absolutely. And we do go ahead and summon out the Fiendsmith Lacrima.
What a card.
It is crazily good. And you really can tell Ryan is the team captain. He's really going left and right, really talking to his teammates, really being close to... I feel like he's talking to Jesse there a lot, because what I said is definitely true. Ryan played that Memento deck so much, and now it is actually Jesse being on the deck.
Can get mentally fatigued too much to play Memento if you have 2 brains working on the deck instead. But
very smart.
Yeah. Really smart as well was the fact that we have Gabriel Nets perhaps keeping this team in the series here, but still, this duel, very much anyone's to take in Duel B. Duel C, though, it looks so good for Paolo PR, RJ. sorry, it looks so good for G-Nets. Can he close it out?
That is so huge to have the Caesar on field. That is such a big
Oh
security net. That will
my.
show us as well. We're going in here because this means actually the Caesar means that Memento Fusion can be negated and the Bone Party can be negated as well, which are some sort of interruptions here for the deck.
So a lot of these face downs from Jesse Cotton, it's Memento, so you have to consider they're within the theme. So that means that they're not necessarily negations, they're not necessarily disruptions, but they are things that can be dealt with. Now, Molcharmi, Fualos.
No, it's Perulia, actually.
Perulia
That's good. It's a
coming
level
out.
4. That is enough. You have
Yes.
X in hand. You can actually go for Duo Drive and then continue your combo. The sequence might not be the most useful card you will have on the field, but if you're at this point, you're kind of sure that there's no infinite impermanence set on the side of Jesse. So I think just summoning X there, dumping something, and then going into the Duo Drive,
There
that
it
actually
is.
seems very, very much like a good play that is very likely to resolve.
And we sent the Meteorologic Aggregator from the extra deck to the graveyard here to get out the X, and now we have 2 level 4s ready to become a rank 4. What rank 4 would you like, Paolo PRRJ? Because you are not being stopped right now. You're allowed to delve into that extra deck. Will you get the Duo Drive? Will you get the... You'll get the Duo Drive. Okay, no more options
go for
needed.
the Duo Drive. I think that's all. Book of Eclipse is one
Everything
of the
is going
answers.
face down.
That is not to be
That's
expected. That's not
crazy.
in the card you would necessarily expect to be in anyone's deck here, really, but showcasing that when you have that deck regulations, when you have those different things that you have to account for, all of a sudden, even Book of Eclipse is a factor.
I will say that Book of the Eclipse has been a heavy factor in the TCG for Memento strategies, and now when you have the shared pool, as you said, this card just circles back into the deck. It's really, really strong. It helps you win games because you can attack directly anyways, or go for some shenanigans with the attack every monster with your Tekutlika and have it have piercing damage with the Bone Party. So this card gives you flexibility. Also, Anguish, Impermanence, Book of Eclipse is super strong.
And now it's essentially a
Oh,
clear
wow.
field that Jesse can play into. Granted, there's still that face-up Fiendsmith Link, and there are those 2
Oh my
face-downs,
goodness.
but there's no more disruption. There's nothing stopping this fusion, and there's nothing stopping the Mentotland Twin Dragon from hitting the field in favor of Jesse Cotton here. But there is Superstar Sky Crisis in Duel C, and that is essentially 1 turn bought. We don't see that to pressure the lead when someone's ahead. Instead, it's the last chance for them to stay in the game.
Yep, and that's even activating a Druid's Worm. This looks like he's going to have this game in the bag relatively soon there with the follow-up Malice strategy. Put up a field, don't lose the game in your opponent's turn, and then go for the win afterwards with all of your resources. But let's go back. Jesse is now setting up the Book of Eclipse. Was absolutely massive here. Is there anything else going to happen? Yep, that makes sense. The Gatic is being attacked over by the sequence. I was surprised to see that the sequence is still on the field, but then I remember that this is Book of Eclipse and not Daruma Karma.
Yeah, true enough.
Almost is, but
granted,
not entirely.
Draws.
I think, yeah, draws indeed,
There's
because
gotta be
there are
draws.
so many face downs. But that does suggest that Jesse is going to try and push for game in this turn. We've seen Memento do it before. We've seen it time and time again. Will Paolo have another turn with which to benefit from these cards that he's getting?
And I mean,
might draw
it's
into cards
important. Yeah, it's important to see that there is
Yeah.
the Caesar now face
Yeah.
up again as well. So that is now again an interruption because it was flipped up. So it's not the easiest task here, but you do have to realize that Tekutlika is not a special summon that happens because you're activating an effect. So you can just deal with it quite easily in the end, actually.
So I said Typhon oftentimes just seen when
That is
someone's losing a
so
game, but now
good.
we have G-Nets pressuring his lead in Duel C with a Typhon of his own, continuing to climb. But Leo, what has got you so hyped?
Oh, what got me so hyped is summoning out the Horned Dragon there, the Mementotland Horned Dragon, destroying it with the Mementotland fusion, and now Akihiron just destroys all the Exceeds monsters, or the Horned Dragon destroys the Exceeds monster, and the Akihiron. Akihiron is going to get you the fusion back. Droll and Lockbird is being chained here.
It's a very interesting deck distribution here for Paolo because we saw he's playing Perulia, we saw he's playing Fuvalos, and he's also playing Droll and Lockbird. So those cards kind of
They're
contradict to
important
each
for
other.
other strategies as well, and I
Yeah.
think that having so many of these versatile tools committed to one deck really goes to show that the team really trust in Paolo PRRJ to carry them over the finish line here, and it looks like that trust has been placed.
Oh, the finish line
well
looks
here, but
upon
there
us
is
in
another
Duel
one.
C as well, because there is the attack for game with Malice Marcher there in Duel C. So G-Nats has played his first game of Master Duel on the World Championship stage, and he has won it as well with the Malice deck.
And I think he was super locked in. Now he's looking over at the table of his friends, and he just sees what Jesse Cotton is doing right now, setting up possible game win in this turn. Targeting one of these set cards here with the Blade effect.
Ooh, another Matotron on the side of Paolo. This card is seemingly very, very popular because it is in the deck of Ray, of course, but it's also in the deck of Paolo. They don't have to share it because they're on opposing teams, but still. It's cool to see that this card is being played so much here.
Very much so. We mentioned the versatility of Molchami Fulos, Molchami Perulia, Droll and Lockbird, but this is a less common but still punishing thing here, as we now have Fiend, Smith, Desiree, coming out from the extra deck to further reinforce Paolo's field here.
And I mean, that's a huge card to summon because you dealt with an opponent's monster. And also, if you now have to deal with the Fiends of Desiree, when it goes to the graveyard, it can also activate its graveyard effect to deal with another card from the opponent.
I will say, if there is a deck that can ignore a Desiree that has no effect to negate something on the field, it is Memento.
Totally, yeah. We could see the Akihiron shenanigans to make our big monsters attack directly. Akihiron about to be coming back, so I think that is the next step here on the ladder.
That being said, regardless of how it looks for Paolo and Jesse right now, G-Nets taking that victory in Duel A does suggest to me that this team, you know, we said they're good vibes only. They were the underdogs in this matchup against your reigning champions. They've got a win now, and they can carry that momentum through with those good vibes from Team Captain Judeo, from G-Nets. And now Paolo, can he get them a lead in this series that we thought they were gonna be competitive in, but didn't expect such a great showing from?
What's also really interesting about these shared card decks is that you never know what kind of interruptions are in which decks. I mean, we've seen a surprise Book of Eclipse. That means that you have to be so much more careful while playing around cards from your opponent. Look at this, a random set card, Infinite Impermanence. Note that down, players, because this card is in Paolo's deck. So you have to invest more resources into set cards because you don't know, can it be a Book of Eclipse or something that is stopping me from winning the game this turn?
Interestingly enough, it will turn off that face down as well, so if that is an extension tool for Jesse, given that it wasn't a disruption, it probably is. That's a good idea, but now, yes, as you said, normal summon Fuwalos going to climb into more monsters, just going to continue to flood the field with the Memento names alongside it and going to link them all away now.
Well, that is a link for it. I mean, we all know what's the most prominent link for in the game right now. It gotta be Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, and it is now with 3,200 attack points, and we go for the Memento Infusion. It looks like Jesse is very confident in what he's doing now. He has the backup of the Appaloosa for the last card in hand. He could technically also just negate the Desiree, and he is very well and ready to go for it here.
Speaking of ignoring a Desiree on the field, I think this is exactly what we're going to see here. The Tekutlika here, you're going to get another Tekutlika there from the graveyard. And because Akihiron was activated this turn, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm very sure.
I believe so,
yes. Yeah, you can attack directly with both of these level 9 or higher Memento monsters.
Yep, absolutely. And there we see it, shuffling back 5. And that is our grand entrance to the combined creation. And we are combining Tekutlikas here to go for 8,000 points of damage right into the life points. We cannot attack directly. And he's celebrating. He took a moment of silence, but now he's sealing the deal. Set 1 goes 2-1 in favor of Team 7.
Not a clean sweep, though, so you still have to consider Fala Galera still in this. Fantastic gameplay across the board. Very, very competitive games, and really, really well played by all of the duelists that we've seen so far.
And this did not look good for Jesse at times. There we were like, hey, of course, Paolo can now play uninterrupted. With the duo drive, you're going in there, you're going to go full. Hold on. Our shared card pool wants to say something to this. Book of Eclipse. Book all of your monsters. They're all face down, or except for the Sequence that can run over the Getic.
And you know, he gave draws over, but when you're closing out the game in that turn, you're okay to do that.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I think the deck concept of the team Fala Galera is very interesting to me because you saw that Paolo, it felt like he has every single hand interaction there is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So maybe the plan is just simply Judeo is playing Mermail, so he doesn't need any hand interaction. He's just going to push through. He has a really strong engine deck that can even play through fields. And when he's going first, usually he will have a good time as well. And then you have G-Nats, who
displayed how well his Malice deck is at going first, even without any non-engine. So maybe it's all the non-engine on Paolo here.
I mean, Malice is so good if your opponent is not really playing Artifact Lancea.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can just push through any field, basically. If
Totally.
there is only like a detonator on the opposing side of the field, you have an Impermanence. You might have Metal Tronos with another detonator, because Ryziel mostly only plays 2. You can play the third one.
Yeah.
I am very curious to see if these players go for their secondary decks this time around, now that they have kind of the lay of the land as to what it is that they're going to be facing off against. Granted, we still have a lot more to see from both of these teams. 2-1 on the record right now. Maybe Team 7 take it if, well, they will take it if they get a clean sweep, but we've seen these games are highly competitive. Fala, Galera, they've taken 1 win. Can they take that to 5?
I mean, Jesse said it himself. They are relentless, so they are not going to slow down at any point. We have said this before. I mean, I don't think that we meant it any serious when we said maybe they're too chill now, maybe they don't really want to take it too serious. They're world champions already. That did not look like that. They are going in full power here. Now set 2 of Team 7 versus Fala Galera starts.
Oh, and we have coin tosses. Ryan is going first. And we see a Labyrinth deck from Ray. What is going on here? Ryan is famous for playing Labyrinth, but now it's Ray being the one on the deck.
And now the Garura being sent from the extra deck to the graveyard will give a draw. Now everything just seems to be going okay for Ray so far. No starter yet though, but there is the Ecclesia to add. You have to imagine the Dogmatica punishment to run some more interruption on Judeo's turn. It's a trap deck. It loves to go first. It loves to set up, and it's setting up right now. Ray on that Labyrinth build.
Duel C, Gabriel Netz shows that he's not playing Malice again. Summons a Tatsunoto Oshigo and had another card. 2 hand traps already used by Jesse Cotton, but there is another Bone Party.
And there's
oh my goodness, Ray. Maxi.
Paolo using Small World as well. So many different techniques coming out here to make this Fiendsmith Ryziel engine deck just go off.
Oh, I think Team 7 has just resolved 2 Maxis this turn.
Yep.
That is huge. Oh,
different dimension ground from Ray.
It's a normal trap. It's searchable. It's Labyrinth, so it's searchable, and it's so good. And it's now just shut off a lot of the options for
Judeo is still playing, if Judeo would still be playing his Mermaid Atlantean deck, that would be a huge deal. But we see this ain't any Atlantean. This is Millennium.
Millennium without Fiendsmith though, because the Fiendsmith cards are in Paolo's deck.
It is. So what is this? What's the brew here from Judeo? Paying 2,000 to activate and maybe resolve the Sengajin.
Sengajin awakens from a Millennium. Yep, Leo.
And this feels a lot better when there is no Ryziel Detonator on the opposing side there. This card is so good, but still, there is a Maxi resolve. The Golem, of course, also. And now, Judeo just shows us, hey, I mean, our opponent started activated Maxi. I have to kind of push through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is what Judeo is doing right now. You see him laid back. They're in the face cam. He knows the plan. He knows that he has to go for it. This set is incredibly important to Team Fala Galera, as they are already down 2-1, so they really, really need to make sure that they don't go out here.
How many draws is Paolo willing to give over here to that Maxi that's resolved? 6 cards in hand now for Ryan. It looks so good for Team 7 across this game and the one we're featuring with Ray versus Judeo, but Fala Galera, don't count them out yet. They're still going.
Where's that nimble angler coming from? This is maybe a Sprite Millennium deck? What is happening out here?
I'm pretty sure that's Sprite. That is so cool.
There is the Doom Dragon.
This is almost game on the field right now. That's crazy. Are you forcing out a big welcome here?
My friends, is this Nimble Angler going to trigger because it was sent to the graveyard there for the fusion summon of the Doom Dragon?
Is it sent to the graveyard?
Or is it destroyed?
DDG?
Yeah, you're making a good point there.
It was not a monster when it was sent to the graveyard, right?
I mean, I guess
true.
Oh my goodness, rulings, everyone.
I don't think he's...
I guess we'll see whether Judeo activates it or not, but regardless, now activating that effect of the Snake Eyes Doom Dragon here to hopefully, as you said, force out the big welcome to make sure that there's a monster standing between Ray's life points and this formidable field that Judeo has built up.
Angler has to go from hand or deck, right?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely
right. I'm pretty sure about that. Just linking it away just never did anything.
Ecclesia goes into the spell and trap zone.
Look at this Ryan with 20 cards in hand, effect valoring everything here. Meanwhile, Gabriel Netz on the other side in dual seal has been hand trapped. I think it was twice authorized. There's another card in the hand of Jesse Cotton now. I think it was at 2 at some point, but he is still going strong with the combos. Okay, Fualos on top of 2 other hand traps.
Starter. This is
Sprite. And let me tell you something, Sprite originally was a deck that sometimes would even run Dimension Shifter, so it really is not a strategy that cares about the different dimension ground that much, and therefore this looks like a situation where Judeo might actually be able to just go for it here.
Talk to me a bit about the Photon Lord and why that was the go-to option here for the rank 8.
Yeah, I think going for the other option, which would have been the Zombie Vampire, doesn't make much sense under the different dimension ground because it would send to the graveyard, and this option here actually secures us against monster effects from the hand, as it is a once per turn monster effect negation, which is huge, and we could also possibly just deal with the Lovely, which was just summoned.
I think that's the most important part there, that you can negate the Lovely and protect. Oh, and we summon out the Carrot. Do we even have another Sprite in hand? Do we have Sprite Blue?
There's the Angler that we were so concerned about coming back here.
And I mean, we can just go Gigantic Sprite, right? And Gigantic Sprite is so good on multiple levels because that also means when you activate Gigantic Sprite, your opponent is forced to either chain his Lady Labyrinth, to chain the Big Welcome Labyrinth, because otherwise they just can't summon their Labyrinth monsters anymore.
Also, how many hand traps do you realistically play in a Labyrinth deck?
Yeah.
Can you just commit into the Maxi? This is something that I've realized when playing Labyrinth with Maxi. Sometimes you don't have the best hand. You Maxi your opponent's like, yeah, I'm just going to win the game. I don't care for 20 traps that you have in your hand.
Speaking of winning the game, not quite it, but still a good amount of damage for Paolo here. Ryan was able to run enough disruption that these attacks are not enough to finish him off, but still a decent position. But 6 cards in hand at the start of this turn for Ryan does suggest that we're gonna see another attempt at clearing out the field and another attempt at building out a very scary set of monsters for your Team 7 team captain.
You still have to attack over the Lovely, though. I hope that Judeo is remembering that attack points actually do matter in Yu-Gi-Oh! As well.
Imagine the last card in hand could just simply be Gamma Burst, though. And then Gamma Burst just makes them all big enough to attack over the Lovely. And I think just a simple Gamma Burst would be already good enough here. We're giving up on Sprite Carrot and Sprite Red here, though. That is dangerous, as now spells and traps, and mostly traps, of course, for Labyrinth strategy, are available again here for Ray.
Gigantic Sprite coming down. It's gonna be able to get over the Labyrinth, but I guess we'll see whether or not there's a disruption here. As you said, bit of a greedy commitment because it gets rid of some of that insurance behind the spell and trap negation here.
This is so funny to
Many
see.
cards in hand for Ray. I think really Judeo decided to go for the greedy play here because he identified, hey, maybe we're a bit too far gone and maybe I do need to close this one out this turn.
Playing to win and not to survive. This is something that separates the best from the good ones. Big Welcome is
I like this too.
Yeah, Big Welcome is really important here because otherwise Gigantic Sprite just shuts it down almost permanently, or for this turn basically, but also on Duel C, there's crazy things happening. I think it's still Gnat's turn. Now he's dropped a Droll and Lockbird on Jesse.
And I mean, the interesting thing here is we can actually quote-unquote chain block the Lovely Labyrinth here because there is the Stovey Torby in our graveyard, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So the monster effect negation of the Photon Lord is not as relevant here, as we can just immediately go ahead and destroy it here in that chain. You may as well use the negate now on the Stovey Torby because otherwise you just may as well lose it.
No, I think you destroy the Gigantic Sprite.
Oh, you could as well do that. Yeah, you're right.
Because then nothing can get over this lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. Lady in hand does suggest that we have in the next turn an option to further extend, or even this turn, depending on what this mystery face down is. Now, looking at your other duels as they're unfolding too, Ryan has built such a commanding field in that Duel B. It's looking scary. It looked so good before, but what is this?
There's nothing on the side of Paolo. He just has no cards anymore. One Exceeds monster that is sitting there. And I think that Ryan is just attacking for game again. Current world champions are going at it. Going in with all of these main deck Ryziels here. One more hit with the node, and Ryan closes out yet another game. The captain of Team 7 is now ready to coach everyone else.
And he was already doing that. You could really tell because Jesse
was coached on Memento because that's one of his favorite decks. But now Ray is playing Labyrinth, a deck that he's so famous for. He reached over 80,000 points in the Duelist Cup playing the Labyrinth deck. Therefore, it is very important to see that he's getting some help here. And we are destroying the Photo Lord, and there is now this Bright Blue, and Ray is drawing card after card after card. But are they going to help them, is the question.
Card after card after card in hand for Ray, but card after card after card makes an appearance on the field of Judeo. The combos keep coming, the commitment keeps coming, and Judeo is just continuing to establish a field of monsters. So far, nothing that can get over that lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, but the Gigantic Sprite is going to make a little bit of a way towards that, hopefully here. But Max C rearing its head here.
That is not particularly dangerous, I would say, when it is on the field. In the hand, when it is discarded.
That's Gamma Burst. That is a Gamma Burst and a Maxi attack for a game, perhaps.
No.
No. Oh, that's start. Oh, we're not even playing Gamma Burst?
Maybe not.
What are we doing now?
I mean, it could be the last card in our hand, right? I think that's what that one's not known. Also, though, I think finding out what the set card for Ray actually is not that hard of a task, because we searched for Dogmatica Punishment with the Ecclesia. Therefore, I think that's what it is.
Ninja Shadow Mosquito.
Yep, this is the card to win games. And Dogmatica Punishment, I don't even think it works under the different dimension ground. Goes into the battle phase, and now the Mosquito is attacking the Stovey Torby.
Judeo activates the effect of the Mosquito. That is such a unique tool to the Sprite strategy, but it might be exactly what Judeo needs here to close this one out.
Going to shut off the effect of the lovely here and going to shut down this Stovey Torby eventually. Obviously, attacking with 0 into 2000 is never a good time, but this is still pretty good here.
Yeah, because the other effect is now going to come in. We are activating it, and we are going to inflict 2,900 points of damage here. And that is how this whole thing with the Mosquito works. We are just attacking and attacking with every attack now, inflicting 2,900 points of damage, meaning absolutely this should be the most cheekiest way of closing out this game here for Judeo.
I think I can see a smirk there on the side of Judeo, trying to look only focused, but I think stealing this game here away from Team 7.
Yep, we said Judeo under that. Maxi had to finish the game in this turn, and he finishes it there and then. Ninja Shadow Mosquito closing that one out with this Sprite Millennium deck that we were not expecting to see, that Ray was not expecting to have to deal with, but now we have G-Nets on a Memento looking good against Jesse Cotton.
Did we not promise you spice, duelist? This is what it's at. This is the World Championships, and this is a Kaiju on the field of G-Nets there. What an answer to Memento field.
Gamma CL, the Sea Turtle Kaiju, but there is the turn going over here, and that should very well be it if G-Nets is able just to close this one out here. 8,000 points still for Jesse, but so many monsters on the side of the field of G-Nets. 2 cards in hand as well for Jesse, but are they enough to end this here?
And Ryan is just sitting there like, guys, didn't you just have everything, basically? You have Fualos with multiple hand traps, and you had Maxi resolve after starting the game. That is insane. Fala Galera is not to be messed with.
If Fala Galera take this one, if G-Net is able to go 2-0 on the day so far, they'll even up the scoreline to 3-3, going toe-to-toe with your reigning world champions in the opening match of the WCS 2025 in Paris.
Okay, we're about to summon back our next Tekutliga monster. We've seen it being successful on the first set, and looks like Memento is going to bring in another win here for a different player this time around. And it is G-Nats who is sealing the deal, who is on an undefeated record for himself here so far, and he takes this second set away from Team 7 there.
Memento is 2 for 2 here in the supposed Ryziel and Malice meta. This is absolutely crazy. Those are already... How are we going to top this weekend?
Yeah.
The Sprite OTK through Maxi versus Labyrinth? What is happening?
Yeah, really just having the presence of mind to commit to that. We said this team is good vibes only. We said their momentum. Well, that is about as much momentum as you can get from just such a great series of games there. Yes, it wasn't clean totally, because, you know, at the end of the day, they are 3-3, but 3-3 against your reigning world champions and tournament favorites. I'll take that any day of the week.
And this is now, of course, where it gets the most interesting, right?
Yeah.
Going into the third and deciding set with an even score, meaning every game now matters so much. Of course, it already mattered in the beginning, but now it determines the outcome of the entire match.
But what is Paolo PRRJ's second deck? That's the question.
Maybe he should start playing it, because so far the Ryziel strategy for him hasn't been working out, even though you have to also acknowledge he lost the coin tosses 2 times.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, did we see Malice in that round, or did people specifically put it to the side because they were
nobody
afraid of
played
the
Malice.
specific
Nobody did.
Malice answers?
That's I think the mind game in our main feature match between Judeo and Ray was massive there, because we definitely went away from the Malice deck for Ray because we were scared of an anti-Malice deck on Judeo's side. And then Judeo just still brought, I would assume that is his anti-Malice deck. Because
That deck felt anti-everything, if I'm honest.
yeah, but I think specifically the tool we saw, the Mannequin Cat, is what matters in this matchup, because Mannequin Cat would be able to summon out Chaos Hunter from the deck, which is the technology I think that we are trying to apply, but there was no Malice. So
and that, of course, would shut off the banishment, and it does mean Malice no longer can extend, and just really well played overall. We said Malice was the deck to watch, but Memento seemed to be the deck to watch so far in this series, and this will be your last set of the opening match. Group stage round 1, match 1. It is Fala Galera taking on Team 7 here.
Who starts this round 1 of the tournament with a W? Is it going to be our reigning champions, Team 7, or is it going to be Fala Galera? There is going to be a start here for Ryan versus G-Nets. Okay, G-Nets not winning the coin toss this time. We're seeing a 7th Tachyon. Now we also know that Droll and Lockbird is probably on Paolo's side.
Unless he changed his deck.
Oh wait, what is happening? There's another Droll and Lockbird.
Again. They're just, are they sharing Droll and Lockbird at this point? Also, very important to know, Duel C is going into a difficult direction for Team 7, as Ray had to pass to one singular infinite impermanence on the White Rabbit there.
Ray so far not having the greatest tournament, not having the greatest luck overall, but we've seen him clutch it out before. It was his Pearly deck that clutched out the World Championship last year for them. It is his strategy that got them to the World Championship in 2023 for that first ever time, and it will be him that this is relying on here. Can he pull this game back, or indeed is he going to have to look to his teammates?
And now we can see on the side of Ryan, Star Ryziel is being summoned. Basti, what's the French name as we are in Paris?
Étoile Ryziel.
Thank you so very much. Passes on a Baguska, the terribly tired top here. Sets another card there. What is Gabriel going to have to offer for this?
Baguska going to shut off some of these monster effects and maybe just slow down the game enough for Ryan to make a comeback when he gets an extra card off of the top of the deck. But is there an answer? There is!
Book of Eclipse is everywhere. Maybe Book of Eclipse is the card of the tournament, and Ryan is shaking his head
Basti,
there.
read the Book of Eclipse.
And there is Mementotlin Anguish as a normal summon. Gabriel Nets just saying, you know what, I don't need to bring Malice every single time. I'm playing actually Memento twice. So far it has been 2 for 2. Can it go 3 for 3 here? What a good start.
Do we have any kind of interruption here, or is the Anguish going to resolve? It's resolved. The Anguish going to start things off here for G-Nets. Nets looking so good this tournament. 2-0 on the scoreline so far. Can he make it 3 and take down Ryan here? But in the other duels, we have Mulan Glacier, Judeo's favorite, actually running some kind of interference, but apparently not enough, as there are still 5 cards in hand for Jesse Cotter.
Judeo had to pass after searching. I think Judeo was not very happy with his hand, and therefore it is the turn of Jesse. So this game is actually looking really good for Jesse, and again for the Memento deck. Memento is just going completely wild here in this match.
I'm hesitant to commit to something that is looking good for one of these players, given just how back and forth the previous games have been. We've cast a curse time and time again, but let's see.
We're going to see a Fualos resolve for Judeo on the Goblin Biker Quickspell that summons out the Mementotlin Goblin, gets to draw a card, but how many impactful hand traps does the Mermaid deck really run if you're playing against it? So that's the big question here. Can you just run through the 8,000 life points? Now Ryan is praying here.
Oh yes, he is. Infinite impermanence, finding a good spot for it. Nothing was changed, so that's huge. We do not have to deal with a Bone Party or with that Goblin Biker Quickspell there. Is there any way of extending for G-Nets?
That's, oh my goodness, Mementotlin fusion is not being chained. Of course, you want to let it resolve, otherwise you would have to destroy your fusion monster without it using the effect already. Are we going to see a twin dragon here, or do we commit another card from the hand, which might be another Mementotlin card for the combined creation to possibly set up already for more?
Wow, this is intense. And Ryan really jumping left and right in his chair. He wants to help his teammates. He can't really help himself too much here anymore at the moment because it doesn't really seem like there's anything he can do. What is this going to be? Okay, it is a Twin Dragon with a monster from the hand.
Sleepy was used from hand, and that enables so much for Gabriel Nets now because you can just summon it back, activate the effect, search first, and then immediately fusion summon.
Oh, yes.
Yep, there's the destruction, and there's no disruption from Ryan Yu onto Nets, as Nets continues to extend here. Memento looking great so far this tournament, and so far in this set of games. You have Jesse going crazy in Duel B, and you have G. Nets now looking to close this one out. The face down Baguska, the terribly tied tape here. The face down spell or trap for Ryan, not enough to stop this.
But also Paulo has passed his turn with a detonator there. Now we're going to see a triple tactics thrust from Ray here. The Malice P. White Rabbit is going to be destroyed by the detonator here. But what are you going to search? There must be something good, like a gold sarcophagus. Is that enough?
Yeah, it could be good. I mean, the obvious one would be triple tactic talents, but then the detonator would probably just destroy itself. But it is the gold sarcophagus, in fact. But we do see GNats continuing here with his combo on duel number A. And Ryan, it really feels like he's not really part of his game anymore, right? He's more so coaching his teammates. We do know what the set card of Ryan is.
Winning.
Wow, that one's over already. Jesse has set the stage here. If one of his teammates is able to win another game, they do win the entire match and the set here. But are they going to be? Because it doesn't look amazing for them right now.
Yep. I mean, actually, the game versus Paulo, I'm still very much torn if he finds a way to play this. I also don't know which card is attached to the Ryziel detonator. If this is a aggregator, this could be an even better spot if you chain it to something like the Dormouse, even though Dormouse then later on triggers and aggregator finds no target. Okay, anyways.
It's actually nice to chain to the gold sarcophagus.
And sarcophagus is crazy.
Yep, so talents can of course take that detonator if need be. I guess that would be the case, or you could draw two from the deck and then further extend with the Malice, but you have options.
I think this duel actually right now is the more intense one, right? Why don't we bring up Duel C here maybe to the main attention, because it is really down to the nitty-gritty there on Duel C.
So actually the detonator getting rid of itself does suggest that we now have the talents having to be used for not too much.
Yeah, I mean, but you wanted to get rid of the detonator pop. There's only one sad card left remaining. Is this infinite impermanence? How many hand traps can Paulo have in his deck even? Dormouse activated its effect. 300 life points gone. Will activate the effect again. Can you go full combo or can you not? Paulo is responding with the infinite impermanence. The Dormouse is sitting alone, but Paulo also doesn't have anything. Does he have an engraver in the graveyard maybe?
Both of them going to be relying off the top card of the deck here. It comes down to this. This will be the deciding game for them, but right now it's looking pretty like a just standoff between both of these duelists.
And the thing is, Paulo needs to draw something good because Dormouse can just use its effect next turn again.
Celine, Queen of the Master Magicians, coming down for Nets here. The extension into the eventual access code toolkit has won many a game, but there are countless options here for the Memento duelists, or about 15 of them given the extra deck. But hey, let's see where this goes for Nets.
Paulo is shaking his head there. Does not look too happy about the card that he just drew. That does not look like a winner's face. Ends the turn immediately. Does he at least have something to play with? Ryan is already celebrating this one here. Meanwhile, Gabriel Nets is just comboing away from him. While Ryan goes, hey, I won 2 games. So I think I'm fine. I did the job here. Gabriel would be 3 for 3 and then still
Lucifer, the Goddess, ready to run disruption on anything that Ryan may have. But right now, just looking pretty good for Nets. That Duel C is gonna be the deciding factor here. Is there a draw off the top of the deck that could save Paulo PROJ here? As we have another Malice starter. There's no kind of stopping this.
Creation King on the field. GNats really feels safe, but we see The multiple Cybers monsters that are being summoned onto the field on Duel C, the Malice monsters on their own when they're boosted by the Dormouse effect are already quite big, so I think we do not need much more here even to close it out in the favor of Team 7.
They were so close. Fala, Galera, they almost had it. They almost took down your reigning world champions, but you're seeing exactly why this team is so clutch. We said Ray so far, not the greatest of tournaments, but he's gonna be the one to carry them over the finish line if this Malice deck has anything to say about it.
Hard Crypta attacking, and we see on both tables people are attacking for game here. Hard Crypta banishing itself. 5,000 damage from the Tekutlika, but you know what has more than 5,000? Oh, GWC was activated. Hard Crypta is going to activate again, summon itself back. Dormos was used, so 5,600 for the Malice Q Hard Crypta.
And there's the game! We spoilered it. It is the turn where Ray finally got to go off, and therefore Team 7 starts into the tournament as the winner of the first round.
And they look relieved. Your world champions look relieved after being pushed all the way to the limit by Fala Galera. Really well played by Fala Galera, but ultimately it was the clutch factor, the consistency, and just the absolute powerhouse that is Team 7 taking that one.
That's one to breathe through after, right? You saw
Thumbs up
Ryan
for the
basically,
victory.
yeah, they are doing the thumbs up. They did it together as a team. And I think you really could tell there what Master Duel, what the World Championship of Master Duel specifically is about. The team factor. Really, Ryan being a team captain that is worthy of a world champion, just jumping left and right, coaching his both teammates and making it happen in the end.
But I also want to say one thing. We have seen that they are beatable because GNets actually went 3-0 versus them. They're going to have nightmares tonight dreaming about Gabriel just sitting there. Oh, I'm going to OTK you.
That was absolutely incredible because it's a bit of a funny story actually with GNets. If you see his Master Duel account, I think he's in the rookie rank right now, but he's very much on the biggest stage of the World Championship, performing like an absolute Master Duelist.
Yeah, fantastic performance from him individually, and just, you know, thinking about how some of these players that did maybe struggle have to shake that off and then get back into it. So far, Judeo not managing to find a win with that, you know, favorite deck of the Mermail Atlantean. A little bit sad, but hopefully has a better tournament so far.
But he won a game with Sprite.
True.
He got, I think that was
And
my
a Sprite
favorite
win
one.
counts for at least 3 Mermail Atlanteans.
Exactly. I think that was my favorite game out of all of them so far. Playing into Labyrinth with Maxi active and just saying, hey, I know Maxi looks really bad for me on paper right now, but I'm very certain that if you're playing cards like Nadir Servant, you're playing the Dogmatica package, you're playing different Dimension Ground, I don't think you're drawing into anything that stops him from going
so
with the Mosquito.
talk to me a bit about why we've seen Labyrinth, perhaps, aside from Raymond I really likes the deck.
Labyrinth is also a deck. If you go first against something like Malice, you can basically really stop them. But also, you've seen different Dimension Ground. The deck is really flexible. You can play into something like Fiendsmith decks or Mermail. We thought that Ryan was going to play, or was Ray going to play into Mermail.
And having a lot of these answers to the more common strategies and these really powerful normal trap cards available to it, it's something that a lot of other teams don't get because you have Trap Trick to search it. You have Ariane, the Labyrinth Butler or Servant.
Ariana, yeah.
You have so many monsters within the theme that can easily access the normal traps and let you just have an answer ready for anything that comes your way.
Even just activating Big Welcome Labyrinth deals with a Neptibus better than any hand trap in the entire game except for Dimension Shifter. I want to make that very clear. Dimension Shifter still really strong, but just popping a Neptibus on summon?
Yeah, but still, the Labyrinth deck, I mean, let's not even talk about the factor of the Sprite deck, which I did not expect at all. Even Labyrinth in the last couple of weeks, when you followed those players preparing, it didn't really seem like an option. It didn't really seem like anyone would even consider the Labyrinth deck. And they were apparently hiding it. They were like, okay, we're not going to give it away. We need to wait for the final moment. We need to wait for the tournament. And then we need to bring that deck, which is so good.
So we had our feature match, but actually, I believe we actually have a couple of other games going on that we can check in on.
So I would say that let's just try to go right over to the table when it happens. But I think that the games so far, they have definitely not been disappointing. This was world stage level 100%.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I mean, what kind of a move really by Judeo, right? Going in there, playing against the world champions, and then just saying, I'm going to play Sprite.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And then even
It works.
converting it into a win, like, that's what
Also,
Worlds is about.
For every rogue player at home, this must be heartwarming. Listen,
Yes.
Labyrinth and Sprite, they are two of my favorite decks in recent Yu-Gi-Oh! I think in
Totally.
the last 5 years,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed those two so incredibly much. So it just... Actually, I might just go and play Master Duel on my tablet.
You should really. But also, again, the story of shared cards. I saw so many Fuvalos there on Team
Right.
Fala Galera. I'm not going to confirm
But what is
anything.
Paulo
or-
PROJ's second deck?
Yeah, that's also a good question, of course. But like, is it maybe a consideration to have that as your shared card? Because talking about that segment of shared cards, I think a lot of people would expect Maxi to be one of them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would also then be expecting to have Ash Blossom and Joyce bring in their deck as
previous
well.
World Championship Called by the Grave was largely the third option there. But I think we also, we mentioned the Triple Tactics talent. There's
Yeah.
the option for the Mulch armies that you mentioned.
Is
as
it?
well.
That's what I'm asking. Do you think it would be a viable option
Dimension
to pick
Shifter
here?
once upon a time before it was limited
Yeah,
as well.
but the Mulch Army Fuvalos, really.
I didn't agree before, but now that I think of it a little bit more, you're basically replacing Called by the Grave in
Yeah.
this scenario, which is, of course, mainly an answer to Maxi or other hand interactions. But this time, it's easy math. You're getting
Okay.
3 cards that you really want to play in your deck, in every deck of yours. So you essentially get 3 more cards that you really
Because it's
want
not
to play.
semi-limit, huh?
Yeah, in your 3 decks. And of course, yes, you need a safety net for Maxi. The card is so incredibly strong, but it's at 2. So you can, if you're saying, okay, we're playing versus the best players in the world, I think we're going to be all on more or less the same skill level. We want to high roll a little bit. We want to hope that we have Ash Blossom if you have the Maxi. We want to make sure that if we lose the coin toss, which is a 50-50, much higher chance than your opponent drawing Maxi in their opening hand, we want to make sure that we have Fuvalos as well.
But it's that high risk, high reward strategy that was what is granting these, less favorite teams to be able to take convincing games off of the likes of your world champions. And that's the kind of mentality you need to take when it comes to matching off against the best duelists in the world, because you can't let yourself get intimidated by Tusku. You can't let yourself get intimidated by countless other scary players. Sorry, Tusku, that you're my go-to example of
I mean,
a
he's
frightening
the guy.
duelist.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just really, really, really heating up the competition so far, and a really great set of games to open up this tournament.
And that was only the first match, right? It feels like I've lived already through all of the emotions only in this first match there, but there is so many more to come. And I mean, in case we didn't say the number just yet, we said round robin, and as we have 12 teams divided in 2 groups of 6 teams each, that means we're basically going to have 5 rounds being played between the 2 groups. So this was the first, and now 4 more to follow.
And then the top 2 teams from each group will advance into the semi-finals, which will be taking place tomorrow alongside the grand final.
Which is basically a top 4 already in Yu-Gi-Oh terms. We like to measure everything in top cuts for some reason. So top 4 also sounds really nice. Top 4 at Worlds, super cool. It is an honor to be here for us, and of course for all of the players it is a dream. Just to give you some more context, if this is maybe the first WCS that you're watching, this is the tournament every competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player dreams of going to the World Championships one day. This is when you're lying awake at night and you're staring at your wall and you're imagining the scenario where you win Euros or you get top 4 and you qualify for Worlds and you're hugging all those friends. And this is what the players have been working for all their lives.
I can tell. You're talking from experience there. You have been laying in your bed dreaming of the world. I mean, myself as well. It's just the tournament.
I was going to say, don't act like it's just me.
It is the tournament of dreams, really. It is
hey,
the
I'm
one
in the middle. I'd be captain of our team.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, you absolutely can be, for sure. And that is what everyone is dreaming of. It is so beautiful as well that we are now back, of course, to Europe here in Paris with the World Championship as well. Therefore, we're all really just excited to see who is going to come through. That whole dynamic with having the same finals twice now, with having Team 7 versus Team Snipe Hunters on back-to-back years. Is it going to happen again? Team 7 did their trick for the first round already. We will have to see about Team Snipe Hunters further on.
True enough, and speaking of someone coming through, we just saw Jesse Cotton make his way to the analyst desk. So I think you're in for a treat when it comes to a post-game interview with one of the greatest minds in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yep, there is very few players who can give analysis like Jesse Cotton. And also, I want to say, in the most recent years, he's become such an entertainer as well.
Yeah.
Real glow up in front of the camera. I love listening to Jesse Cotton because not just informative, but also so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, 6th time at the World Championship for him now combined.
Oh my goodness.
It is the 3rd time for World
Give
for
some to the
Master
rest
Duel,
of
of
us.
course.
But does he have as many event tops as Paulo PRJ?
He does not, no. He is still up there, but Paulo not really starting into the tournament that
Did manage
nicely, right?
to take the
Because
win now, though, against
he
him.
went
Yeah.
0-3 because, I mean, you can only explain the 3-0 and still losing from G-Nets with someone else on the team not having a single win. And that, in that case, was Paulo, who really, on that Phoenix Rise, he kept on trying. And I'm with you. Maybe in the 3rd set, it was just simply about picking the other deck because the first one was just not working. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. Sometimes you have to be like, okay, this is not working right now. I'm going to change it up and just try something different, even though on paper it may be a little worse.
Granted, with the amount of highly versatile and desirable cards in that deck, perhaps we've seen like an overcommitment into one of the 2 decks.
Yeah.
Granted, he is one of the best duelists at that strategy. The Fiendsmith Rise was so good for him in TCG. It's definitely still his tournament, and it still could be something within his sights to make it into that top 4 that you mentioned.
I definitely agree. And also, I still need to say that in the last few years, we have seen mostly the first decks of the players. We've seen T-Elements or the Fire King, Snake Eye strategies and all that good stuff. And very rarely we've seen second decks. Some players haven't even ever shown their second decks in the entire tournament. This time around we saw Sprite versus Labyrinth in 2025. This tournament is insane. The power level of Malice is so high that people bring designated counter decks to it, and it is so much fun to watch that people are just playing complete rogue strategies to counter the counter deck and the mind games, and then all of a sudden nobody is playing Malice anymore, but you're just playing Labyrinth versus Sprite.
I was very much impressed by Gabriel Netz, especially here, not only because he went 3-0, but also because we had attributed the Mermail Atlantean strategy to Judeo, who played it in the qualifier.
Yeah.
We had seen that Paulo PRJ played the Fiendsmith Riziel to great success in the TCG, whereas Gabriel Netz came in kind of as the wild card that could play anything, and he played both of his decks so well.
I think he's just a very good technical player. And I think also what they were looking for in him as a teammate, he's also an amazing deck builder.
He told me he was comic relief for the team.
Oh,
Just
really?
there to
I
make
mean,
him laugh.
that as well. We can have all of it. I mean, because in the TCG, for example, there was like a very famous punk deck that he invented basically back in the day with Crystron and Hulky Fibrex, which was
the
really...
Adventurer
Yeah, and
part
the
of it as
Adventurer
well,
cards, and he was basically the one that brought it up, and then everyone else copied it. So I think Judeo was also looking for a good deck builder in him to come into the team. And I mean, he definitely built a good Malice and a good Memento deck there for himself. I hope the other decks are also going to be shining in the next couple of rounds. Though.
Technical play with the Memento deck was also on point. Piloted through so many hand traps there on the side of Jesse Cotton, knew exactly how many draws to give him. And I'm just going to say, so far on stream, we have no idea about the other games,
True.
Memento has the most wins in this tournament.
Absolutely does, and I could have told you before. My
Of course,
Mementos always are going to be winning. They are just such a beautiful deck. They are just so versatile.
To be fair, Malice's loss was against another Malice deck, so yeah.
That immediately will mean one Malice deck loses when 2 of them play against each other, that's fair. But it's really interesting on G-Net's side. He played Malice on the first game, and then on the second game, it felt like, okay, you may switch away from Malice now because you're afraid that this is the opponent with the anti-Malice deck. But then you saw the anti-Malice deck actually is with Ray, and then still he sticked with the Memento deck for the third game too.
Yes, indeed, and he found great success with it. But somebody else that had a large amount of success in this series, this past year, last World Championship, throughout his entire career of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Jesse Cotton, who you can hear from right now.
Thanks, Ibris, and yes, indeed, I'm here with one of the winners in round 1, Jesse Cotton, of course, representing Team 7. I mean, what a close way to start things off.
That was very much a nail-biter, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, amazing match to start things off. I mean, as Ibris was saying already, what a start of a season for you. Obviously, you have been quite consistent overall in these past few years in the TCG. And although I've heard that you have been a bit disappointed to not defend, your streak at the first North American YCS, I think you have a more important title to defend this year.
I do, and as much as I wish I could play more for the TCG, my focus was for sure Master Duel here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I mean, I know for anyone, round one in any tournament is, a bit of an interesting one. How does it feel being the defending champions with your teammates and just playing in round one?
Regardless of any statuses I may have, I always want to consider myself level, and so it doesn't make too much of a difference. I'm nervous either way. It's not crazy nervous to the point I'm like gonna screw up, but also the same way I'm not confident like I'm gonna win this. Everyone else here is good, and I'm expecting a lot from them as well, but for myself too.
Yeah, and that should be definitely the good mindset to keep. As mentioned, it was really, really a close one. It could have gone either way because, I mean, at the end, it went all the way down to the last game.
Yeah.
And overall, it was interesting, I'd say. Also, in terms of matchups, different decks, we got to see a bit of everything. And overall, the highlight was obviously, I mean, Ryan and also Gabriel Nats, his opponent in the last round, were the only one undefeated in the last set. And then there was this decider match. And Ryan was the only one, though, who didn't showcase the second deck outside. So we'll keep some mystery around. We'll see what's going to happen. But I think the biggest highlight, maybe surprise for me, was that the best performing deck by far was Memento, undefeated, 4-0 across the different teams. What do you think of the deck?
So we do feel like Rising and Malice are the best deck still.
Yeah.
One sample size of matches is not the biggest indicator on the deck success. That being said, Memento was one of the few decks that like kind of trail closely behind in terms of power, and that's for a good reason. When it goes first, it's excellent. It can still play a lot of other cards like what happened to Ryan with Duel Lockbird that really let them catch up when they do go second, and it means that the deck can perform quite well.
Absolutely, and I mean, it did. Again, it was dominating 4-0 across all different games and matchups. And I mean, what is obviously unique about this event is the format and how you prepare for it, the concept of that building itself, which I think you are also a big fan of.
Yeah.
And I think this tournament itself also has a lot more mind games than the previous years, just because, as you've mentioned, maybe there are two more dominating decks, and you can play around with a lot of interesting tech cards. And we did see a lot of switching in. Malice was not played all that much this set,
Yeah.
And overall, what was, you think, the strategy from at least your side in this set, like switching in so much? We saw the Mermail deck not, being all that.
So Gabe and I guess their whole team in general did get us, if you want to say it that way. So Memento is pretty solid against Ryziel. It's a decent deck overall, but when you go second versus Malice specifically, that's when you'll see its weaknesses. So knowing that Gabe played Malice, I wanted to switch to a deck that was more well-equipped. He obviously knew that could happen and switched to a deck that wasn't Malice. Of course, it's not now I'm screwed. I still had a decent shot. Mermail's a very good deck, especially if you go first. But he played well, had Duel Lockbird, went first with Memento, and it was not a
Not at all. But in terms of you instead performing on stream in particular, I wanna showcase just what was most likely the closer game we have seen, which was the one between you and Paolo in the first set. So I just want to bring up the first clip from the first first game, so from around 10 minutes. And yeah, this was you opening up, doing some mementos, and obviously going first is a big difference. But what were you thinking here on, of course, this amazing tech card?
Yeah, so Book of Eclipse is being played mostly to go second. Of course, all Ryziel cards, well, their best cards, XYZs. So Eclipse thrives, as well as it forces through your Memento effects or effect nations with multi-purpose. And of course, when you go first, it does have utility. It's not nearly as good as something like Destructive Darumacam in this position, but it's the fact that you can do all of that. And this still is quite good, because while he will draw cards here, Paolo for sure, I feel confident that despite the draws, now buying myself the time, I'll be able to beat it. Largely in part 2, Akihiro, the card that's set there, which will allow my Mementos to attack directly. So even if he ends with like a bunch of monsters there, it's going to be incredibly hard for him to wall up. I'm going to be able to just summon guys, attack directly, and you can have 10 cards. It's not going to matter.
Yeah, and that's exactly in the end what happened. Because I mean, here we are still praying through the motions, but we can also just skip through, you know, to the ending of the match and the second clip again for game one, which is exactly what happened with the Akiron, you know, allowing you to attack directly. And yeah, this is pretty much when you had must, even though, you know, with this Appaloosa for extra safety.
Yeah, just in case the last card in hand is Nibiru, the Primal Being. I had no reason to believe it was, but I had 0 things to lose to make the Appaloosa, so obviously just do it.
Yeah, you're just gonna take it. And I mean, in the end, it just showcases that, as mentioned, there are a lot of different options, and when you're forced to play, you know, at least 2 different decks, you can make the most out of it. What was the main decision behind you, I guess, not picking one of the 2 favorites, if you want to say that, in Ryziel and Malice, as we have seen that you are on Memento Mermail?
So myself and Ryan are probably the most flexible in terms of the decks we can play.
Okay.
We play a lot.
Yeah.
Ray is a person who likes to pick one deck and play it for like a long time and master it that way. So Ray's been playing Malice for half a year, maybe more. And so that felt like it was an easy choice.
Yeah.
And then when it came between me and Ryan to choose who gets the Ryzel deck, I was the person who had more Ryzel experience in the TCG. But we were both pretty sure that didn't matter who played it, either of us could play it fine. And there is a extra tiebreaker for the leaders. So if it comes to same amount of round wins and match wins, then it's whoever's leader has the most wins. And Ryan is the leader. So we wanted what we deemed to be the stronger deck to have more wins in theory. So while I don't think it's much worse to play Memento, we gave Ryan the best of the 2 decks as a result.
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense, and I mean, it did work out in the end. But just before we let you, you know, take a break, I also want to bring up quickly what was instead the funniest, I think, game to witness, just in terms of surprising of matchups, which was game 2, and it was the set, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I know, I think you know what you mean. So around, I think, 10 minutes of the second game, if we can, you know, bring it up on screen. Obviously, it was the surprises. And on the one end, we had, I don't know if much of a surprise, maybe today, but not if you know, Die with the Labyrinth deck. But he paired up against the Sprite Millennium. So was that at all on your radar?
Sprite Millennium? No, I don't think so. I don't think we were expecting that. We switched into... Oh.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Yeah.
We switched into the Labyrinth deck because, as we saw in the game, he plays different Dimension Ground, which excels versus Graveyard decks, specifically Mermail, which is what Jadeo had played in the first game. Now, there's no guarantee he stays on it, which is what happened, so we did kind of figure that would happen. But the risk to switching to Labyrinth is pretty low. It's a deck that it can have a good matchup, but it really has really bad matchups.
Yeah.
And didn't think they'd... Like, even if they imagined us to pick a counter deck, it wouldn't be a deck that was incredibly strong to Labyrinth. Like, why would they assume it's Labyrinth?
Yeah. And I mean, we kind of saw the revenge of game 1, where, as you've mentioned, you could have given him any amount of cards and you were still able to close it out. And that happened with them, with the Mosquito in the end, allowing through Maxi like 10 plus cards in the end of Die. But thankfully, I mean, in the end for you, it all worked out again in that nail biter of a third set. And I mean, it's a great way to start things off at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, no, I'm very happy to have won the first round.
Absolutely, no, and you should all be proud. And with that being said, obviously we're gonna wish you best of luck to all of you 3, and we'll keep following your journey throughout the day. Hopefully, we'll see you later on. But thank you guys for being with us. But don't go anywhere, because we'll be soon with more action here at the 2025 World Championship in Paris.